couple weaknesses. I'm curious to see if he can rebound, and he's going to need to show some improvements to stand out in that middleweight division. It's a tough division.
Absolutely. I think if George Carter Jr. boxes here and stays on the outside and makes it tough for Colby to get inside with his range and his skills, he should be able to walk away with this one. But if they get in there and start mixing it up right away like they're doing right now, it's anybody's fight.
I agree. You know, one thing that George needs to do is nice. There he goes. He looks like he just put.
Oh wow!
Beautiful left hand by Carter, drops Carter. You know, Carter's shown a good chin in the past. That was a surprising knockdown.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. His legs are still wobbly here too. That's tough when you get dropped about 20 seconds into a round here.
It really is. You're not in the groove at all. You know, your legs aren't quite there yet. And you're right. He's still rocked, and he
needs to hold on here.
Get out of this round. I would agree that he should hold on and stay away. Looks like he's going to try to fire back instead. I'm not sure that's the best plan of attack.
Yeah, I don't like that strategy. I think he needs to try to stall until he get his legs back under him and hope he can get out of this round and just go ahead and take the 10-8.
Now it looks like his bearings are a little better than they were 30 seconds ago when he was on his butt, but he's throwing back some hard weather too. Now Carter could get caught himself coming in. Because Carter's throwing both hands hard. Things are getting a little wild here. It's also giving Carter a little time to recover. He looks better. His legs are steady under him. Carter's
another big shot there by Carter.
Yes, he's really winging that left hand hard. And like you said, you know, Carter's lack of power is slightly hurting him here. In the exchanges, he's not able to back Carter off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice right hand lead there.
You could really see that, Jeremy. You're absolutely right. In terms of these guys standing in the phone booth and engaging, Colby Carter's definitely getting the better of it. And George Carter's having a real tough time keeping him off of him here. Another big shot.
And he was hurt again. And every time even that looping left lands, it's hurting him.
He caught him again.
That wasn't that hard of a shot, Eric. I wonder if he's just not regained stuff from early in the round.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Because, I mean, that shot was nothing like the first shot that put him down. The first shot that put him down was a beautiful left hand. Now pretty much everything he's landing with that left is hurting Carter and wobbling his legs.
And Carter's not moving his head at all. If you see
that's a knockdown. His gloves didn't touch it, but his butt did go against the ropes. He would have fell for sure if the ropes weren't there. Very dominant first round by Carter. I don't think we saw a 10-7 first round coming for Carter.
No.
It's going to be tough to get back in this fight for Carter.
Absolutely.
Once again, we got George Carter Jr. in the blue trunks, 13-2, and Colby Carter in the green, 11-7. Carter coming off a big upset over Andy Coley, and he's looking to do it again here, and he's so far doing exactly what he wanted to do. If he picked off two prospects like this, that really could put him in a good fight, maybe against a Joe Amuda.
Absolutely. There's another one right there. Mark Nelson rules that one not a knockdown, but that very could easily also been ruled a knockdown. Carter's got to stay on the outside here and try to just get through this round.
He does. And like you said, you said it before the punch landed. You said he's going to need to box. If they're going to exchange, it's going to be bad for him. And so far, he's been forced to exchange. I mean, he's not hitting, not able to hit Carter hard enough to back him off. So Carter's walking forward, not worried about what's coming. And his only hope here is that Carter slows down and that he's able to start taking over. But even then, Eric, that was a 10-7 round we just saw. I'm guessing on all three judges' scorecards. You're down 3 points going into round two. That's always tough in a short fight when we don't have any rounds to make up points with.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's predicting George Carter to stop Colby Carter here. The game plan, the blueprint for him to get the win would be to outbox Colby Carter. So, going down 10-7 and being the guy that doesn't necessarily have one-punch knockout power, that's pretty much your nightmare scenario.
Oh, it really is. And even when you lose the first round, 10-8, 10-7, that's starting in that kind of part is not easy. Luckily, it is a 6-round fight and not a 4-round fight. But this round should be very interesting. I'm curious if George got his legs under him. He's gonna need to be able to have to take those left hands because he for sure didn't in round one successfully.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish we could have heard what his corner told him in between rounds there, because I'm going to bet they read him the riot act there and said, keep your hands up, jab this guy, and move.
Yeah. It's time to put those legs to work, and if he doesn't put the legs to work, it looks like Carter's going to land a big enough shot to put him out. And Mark Nelson was keeping an eye on that fight towards the end of round one, Eric.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely in the back of world-class referee Mark's head. that he might have to stop this fight soon, and that someone is taking a lot of shots.
Yeah, I think if you see George Carter continue not to see the shots coming in and to be getting caught with these, pretty much all these winging shots Carter's throwing in there, Mark Nelson's going to have to wonder if he's able to, if he's recovered, and you never want the referee worrying about that in the fight.
No. Seems like Carter's he's fighting smarter this round. He's moving a lot. He's throwing jabs, which is definitely what he needs to be doing. The first round he exchanged quite a few times, and he's hurt a little bit. His air legs are not all the way under him, Eric.
Not at all.
He doesn't seem like he's hurt to the head, but his legs are still wobbling when he gets hit with something. With anything.
And he's really not moving his head. You notice that pretty much every shot coming in, no matter the angle, is at least glancing off of his head. He's got to move his head. I don't think he's back.
No, and at one point, we were trying to do a showdown forever with top middleweight prospect Robert Brandt. We tried to do George Carter, and at the time, George Carter was at 154, and they never wanted to fight. I think he should go back to 154. He's not taking punches very well at 160.
Absolutely.
Porter's having a good time in there. He's smiling and laughing. I think he's throwing that just ridiculously wide looping left, and it's still landing. And when it does, it's startling. It's staggering. George Carter Jr. I think George needs to start throwing a lot of jabs and throwing the body. Ooh. Right there, they both exchange heavy hooks.
Porter's doing just enough here too.
Nice left hand. Porter did not see that coming. He threw it from a weird angle. Nice left hand that drops Porter. Porter's not necessarily hurt here. I just don't think he saw that punch coming.
Yeah, he's protesting and saying it was a push here, but it was a nice short shot.
It was. It was at a weird angle. Carter didn't really have to put anything into it. It just put him down. I don't think that was a push at all. I'm curious to see the replay.
One interesting thing here, Jeremy, is we mentioned these shots of Carter coming in a little wild and landing, and it seems like George Carter wants to move out of the way of the shot, but the fact that Carter's a southpaw is just, for a split second, he's confused in terms of which way to move.
Yeah. And
it seems like he's got to get more work in with southpaws here because he's not getting out of the way of the punches like he should be.
Well, a lot of southpaws, they are the southpaw at the gym, so they don't have they're the one that people bring in. They don't get to see many southpaws.
Absolutely.
And they can definitely struggle with them. Good round. We got ourselves a great fight, Eric. This fight could go anyway. If you want to get yourself back in a fight after 10-7 round, you go out there and you get a 10-8 round right back, and now we got a 1-point fight on my official, unofficial scorecard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think George Carter did exactly what he needed to do there. It still concerns me a little bit how much he's trading with Carter, in that George Carter had a lot of amateur fights, and he does, on paper, have the skills that could prevail in a boxing match. So we'll see if he settles down a little bit after that 10-8 round and is able to get back to working behind his jab and finally getting out of the way of that Colby Carter left hand.
And I don't know that he's gained Carter's respect yet. He dropped him, but Carter wasn't hurt, and it was just a good smart shot to throw. The way Carter's body was turned, I don't think he could see the punch coming in the way that Carter was standing. But he's got back in the fight, and this will be a very big round. If Carter can win this round and do it, like you said, if he does what he needs to do, which is box, move, and stay away from that big left hand that Carter's throwing, he's going to be right back in the fight with an even fight. Carter does seem to be slowing a little bit too.
One other thing is we know both these guys have gone 6 rounds against good, tough fighters. You mentioned George Carter Jr.'s fight against Joe Amuto, which was very, very close. A lot of people had Carter winning that fight. And Colby Carter went 6 with Andy Coley. And even though Andy Coley's on the backside of his career, he's still a very dangerous southpaw fighter. So we know these guys should be able to keep this up for 6 rounds. I don't think either guy can count on the other guy gassing here. I think we're going to see good action for the remainder of this fight.
For sure, and I think that both guys now have proven they can put the other guy down. So Carter's doing. He's staying on his feet here. That's what I'd like to see him do: is stay on his feet, throw jabs, mix in some combinations, and mix in some body shots. There, nice jab, and it worked. Now get out. He stayed in a little too long that time, and Carter wants it close and wants to be able to, throw clubbing shots. As wide as he's throwing, Eric, I would be surprised if Carter doesn't start gassing. Some guys, just like you said, that they've won 6 rounds, it's not a big deal, but he is missing. When he's missing big, and he's throwing nothing with big shots. I mean, he's not establishing a jab of any sorts.
No, he's not. And Colby Carter, I've seen him fight maybe 3 or 4 times, and he definitely doesn't have the MO of jabbing. So that's a good point to watch there, Jeremy, in terms of, Carter's definitely the more efficient guy. He looks like he might have got buzzed again there, though.
He does not take either it's the way that they're landing and maybe they're behind the ear slightly, but yeah, he doesn't take those left hands well at all. And they haven't even been hard since that first one. I mean, none of the punches since that first one that dropped him have landed as cleanly or been thrown as cleanly. Quarter's really starting to get wild. I'm very curious if these see, like right there. I mean, he's missing by a mile. Carter's starting to see these shots coming a little better. I still think he needs to throw just quite a few jabs and really get his range going, because there we go. Nice right hand. Tricky shot. You can see the experience there. Quarter's kind of keeping his hands down a little bit and trying to get little rests when he's inside. I do think he's getting tired. And I think that Carter's body work might also be paying off a little bit. I'm actually impressed with what I've seen from Carter so far, Eric. He got in there after a really, really horrible round one with 2 knockdowns. He got back in there, and he's done everything that you could ask so far, and he's starting to take over this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we both probably thought that after that knockdown in the first round, he'd be hard-pressed to survive the first round. But you see this sometimes where the guy gets hurt early in the fight and the other guy isn't able to get him out of there, and he starts to sort of get back into the flow, and before you know it, he's right back in the middle of the fight, and you're wondering what happened. I think that's what's happening here. I
agree, and I think that George's experience, he's probably been there before. I mean, he had a great stellar amateur career, and he's had 16 pro fights already coming in. I would like, we talked about earlier in the night, to recap some of the action. Nate Rubin and DeLorean Caraway both win their fights 40-36 to stay undefeated. Vinny Downwind took a loss then against the tough Daniel Williams. Both guys shows the potential, but Vinny needs to get his weight down and get in better shape. And Danielle, he needs to continue to work on his boxing. But
yeah, I was really impressed with Danielle. I actually was in the back, and Danielle asked me what I thought of this performance. I told him that even he fought August 26th, and even in just the last few weeks, he looked more comfortable in there, having gone 4 rounds with Van Goodman. And I mentioned to him again that as others have before, that if he keeps his chin down, he can fight. So I'm excited to see what he does in the future here.
For sure, in the heavyweight division, you can always find a fight.
Absolutely.
So far in round 3, both guys have been a little wild. Carter is starting to get sharper and kind of find his range, and as well as I think he's starting to figure Quarter out and see it. He's seeing all that like right there. I mean, he didn't even duck that punch. Quarter's missed it by a mile. Quarter's accuracy is not one of his strengths, as well as the fact that he doesn't throw any jabs. Nice body shot.
You see Carter sitting down on some punches here, Jeremy. You mentioned earlier, that George Carter Jr. was going to have an easier time if he could get Colby Quarter's respect. And Quarter's face is looking a little red here. It looks like there might be a little blood on the right eye. And I think Carter's really sitting down on his punches and trying to get that respect, and it's working.
It is, and he's throwing harder and he's landing hard. And he's landing a lot more clean shots here. I think that cut will be an interesting thing to keep an eye on as well. Quarter hasn't really, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to get too frustrated, but he's getting caught coming in here pretty clean by Carter, and I'm curious if Carter can't finish him or hurt him again and maybe go for the finish. See that? He really is quite wild. He's not setting anything up. He's only throwing power. I don't know if you call them power punches. They're just windmill haymakers. I mean,
yeah, you could argue that it was a blessing and a curse that he was able to catch Carter so much early with those shots, because he doesn't look like he's able to change his game plan much here, and Carter's adjusting better than Quarter is.
Yeah, he's got red eyes for that left hook still, and he's starting to eat a lot of stuff coming in, and his face is starting to show some wear and damage, and he's starting to get slower. Nice right hand by Carter, catching him as he's leaving. See, I like what Carter's doing right now. He's really mixing his punches up. He's throwing a lot of jabs as well, which is what we were asking for early. And now he's starting to mix them to the body as well as coming upstairs with that right uppercut.
And if there was any doubt about whether or not he was going to be able to get his legs back under him, he clearly has.
And now he gets hurt just to drop. It looks like he took these shots a little better.
Yep. Yeah, you notice he was sitting down on uppercuts. He was throwing some off-balance punches, and that's a good sign that he's got his legs back under him in terms of being able to fire off some of those combos.
Yeah, he seems to be seeing everything Quarter's throwing now. And, Quarter's giving him plenty of notice of what's coming. Just loading up and really not at all doing a good job of setting these shots up. We're starting to see a lot of his mouth guard as well. Quarter's mouth guard really starting to stick out. Colby Quarter in the green, 11-7, fighting George Carter Jr., 13-2-1. George is in the blue.
Oh, he hurt him again. 10 left in the round.
George boxed the beautiful round up until then. They might have blown it. I don't know. I probably would still give him the round.
I think Carter still won the round, but again, it's just a reminder that in this fight, Carter's going to have to be on his game until the very end because he's got 2 rounds to go here, and again, he didn't take that punch well.
No. Really liking the DJ tonight. We're getting a lot of WWE music and a lot of sitcom. They had Cheers, Charles in Charge, and now, do you know this one, Eric?
I don't.
As long as we got, I believe that this is Full House. I know I recognize it.
Huh.
Probably going to get shredded for that one.
Well, they put us up here for our boxing knowledge, not for our sitcom knowledge, right? I got to catch up on that if I'm going to be able to drop any knowledge on that topic.
Oh, for sure. Another great crowd here at Hinckley, Grand Casino Hinckley. People out in this area just really come out. They show support, and they're very knowledgeable fans. Start here is round 4. Now Carter dominated 2 minutes and 50 seconds of round 3, and then was wobbled at the end of it, and was in a little bit of trouble there. He was lucky there wasn't more time left on that clock.
Oh.
There we go. Quarter's throwing that left a little shorter, Eric. He didn't loop that last one, and it landed. Carter's not looking good shape.
You can notice that Colby here is really trying to lay on George, and he knows there's 2 rounds left, and Carter's been in a real tough fight here, and every chance he can get, he's laying on him. He's trying to take his legs, put him down, force him to get up off the canvas. He's really using his weight.
He's a veteran. He's showing some. He's not showing much technique, but he's showing a lot of savvy and a lot of grit. To keep moving forward because he's not taking a step back in this fight.
No.
George is making a good account for himself too. Other than he's been getting hit with too many wild left hands, but in between those shots, he's done a great job of dominating the fight.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that you could make the case that outside of those maybe 8 or 10 moments where he's got caught with clean punches, George Carter Jr. has really dominated this fight. Colby Quarter's face is marked up. He's been frustrated at times. But it comes back to how judges score fights, right? And we see this consistently in that some judges really are favored by the hard hitting, the clean, effective punching, and the damage. And there are other judges that favor work rate and maybe more of that amateur style. So you mentioned sort of how you and I felt the cards were, but I think it could be quite a bit different than what we think here, based on the contrast in styles.
Yeah, my my score is always the official, unofficial score. So I never know what that's gonna end up leading to. Now George Carter Jr. is, if he loses his second fight in a row, he's gonna be on quite the skid. Definitely, he needs this fight a lot more than Quarter does. So I'm very curious to see what his corner's telling him. I would say throw a lot more jabs in and definitely stay away from that left hand. I don't know how he's getting caught with it when it's being thrown so wildly. Yeah,
he can't afford to continue getting caught in these last 2 rounds. He's taken too much punishment to afford to do that. And he's got to feel like he's in there in a competitive fight. He dropped Quarter in the second round, and he certainly outboxed him for 80 to 90% of these rounds. I will say that in the 2 fights that went to the card so far, the judges got the scores right. I think it was they were good competitive fights, but the judges definitely had the scorecard right. So we'll see if that continues.
Just curious to see what those knockdowns did. I mean, that first round could be 10-8 or 10-7. I had a 10-7, but definitely could have been a 10-8 round as well. And you know, there's going to be a lot of point discrepancies in this one. Even the last round, and another sitcom song.
So you mentioned these guys are middleweights, Jeremy. This is fight number 4 of 8 up here at Grand Casino Hinckley tonight. In fight 5, we've got super middleweights, Joe Muta and Ken Glenn. And then we've got 3 cruiserweight battles coming up in fights 6, 7, and 8. And that's pretty rare. There aren't a whole lot of ranked U.S. cruiserweights. It's more of a European division. Most of the time in America, you know, those guys are heavyweights. But we're in for a treat tonight. I really like cruiserweights. You know, at 200 pounds, you get big athletic guys. They're usually in good shape, and you're going to see, you know, Al Sands, Phil Williams, Ryan Watson, a number of other guys there that can really punch coming up tonight.
Ryan Watson has been a top prospect for a long time. I'm very curious to see how he's going to look, how he's going to do tonight. He's in against a 6-1 fighter. That's a definite tough fight.
Yeah.
Interesting so far here. Fight again. All the fights have been good so far. George Carter Jr. being extremely tested by Colby Quarter. He's going to have to dominate these last few rounds to take this fight. Maybe we get a knockdown as well.
I got to think when this fight's over, regardless of the outcome, when these guys watch this tape back, they're both going to agree that this was a Colby Quarter style fight. I think that regardless of whether or not George Carter's able to pull out the victory. Oh, a body slam there by Colby Quarter.
This is going to lead to a point taken away, which is going to be big, I think, Eric. Is he taking a point away or just a warning?
I think he's going to warn him. Referee Mark Nelson, I think, understands situations really well for a referee. I think he knows this is a good, close fight. He's going to do everything he can to let them decide it in the ring.
He's the best. He's the best of Minnesota's. Him and his father are just, you know, the cream of the crop. Very curious to see if he, if anything, any other infractions happen, though, I don't think he's going to have much of a choice. That was a pretty blatant one. The crowd didn't like that too much.
No. Quarter's playing the heel role, the villain, if you will, here.
He is. He's doing a great job. 2 losses in a row, you got to kind of wonder where George Carter can go after that. I think tonight he took on a tough guy, but I think they still felt like they would be able to cruise to a victory as long as they didn't do anything too bad. And he has. He's let Colby Quarter come in and land looping left hands that shouldn't have been A, landed, and B, probably not hurt.
Yeah, this tape's going to be a tough one for Carter out there. I think there are going to be some southpaws calling his people after this one. And there's a blueprint out there now that he's going to have to work in the gym to fix if he wants to stay competitive at a high level.
I agree. George Carter, he did drop the quarter, but he didn't hurt him, and he has not been able to really hurt him at all. He's even when he was sitting on combinations in rounds 3, he really wasn't able to do anything to Quarter to scare him off. I think that if he had stuck to the jab, he would have done a better job of tiring Quarter out. Now as we get to the deep rounds, you were right. Quarter's not tired, and Carter's not either. But Quarter's the one that I think that I thought was fading, and he seems to be right back in this fight.
Yeah,
got his cardio back.
Yeah, this is a tough one, right? I mean, I think you have a fight where one guy clearly hurt the other guy.
Oh, nice left hand by Carter. He's throwing some heat too, but yeah, once again, he's gotten sloppy as well. But Quarter's definitely, you know, quite the wrestler.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one, right? I mean, is it possible that we have a fight here where a guy dropped his opponent 3 times in the first round, hurt him